Hello everyone! Welcome to my third video in the series Common Sense Touch, where we will look at some keys to a sustainable income. This video is a follow-up to my previous one, called Understanding Your Personal Cash Flow. If you didn't watch that one yet, I would definitely recommend you to do so because what I will share here is based on the concepts and ideas revealed in that video, in which I compare your personal finances with water flowing into different tanks. Managing your money successfully requires an understanding of the purpose of each individual area within your personal finances. Understanding purpose means knowing why we use money in different ways. We said that income has the purpose to sustain. Expenses have the purpose to support your lifestyle. Savings have the purpose to protect you in time of trouble. Investments have the purpose to generate return in the form of growing cash flow. And investment debt or leverage has the purpose to amplify the outcome of your investments. In other words, we sustain a lifestyle, and while we are protected, we are investing in assets that generate return in the form of cash flow, and we use our credit worthiness to amplify the return of our investments. This return will add to our possibility to sustain a better and better lifestyle. If we do not understand these different purposes, we will never be able to manage our money successfully. In my book Wealth Maker or Wishful Thinker, I argue that it doesn't matter how much you have, but what you do with what you have at any given moment, regardless if it's a little or much. If you have plenty and make wrong choices, you will end up with very little. But if you start with very little and do the right things purposefully, you will end up having plenty and will be able to live your dream life. The fact is that the more sophisticated a person's financial structure becomes, the more important it is to understand the purpose of each area. You may have several streams of income and a very complex investment portfolio with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, different businesses, retirement plans, real estate. If you do not manage the different areas according to their specific purposes, you will end up with a mess. In this video, let us review a handful of principles and rules that you should be aware of and apply at all times. Key number 1. Successful money management requires that your expenses are always lower than your income. In other words, do not spend more than what you make, no matter how much you make. Do you remember our water flow model? If more water goes out than comes in your main tank, your main tank will soon be empty, and you'll be in the situation where you will say, I need water now, and I don't have any. A direct consequence of this principle is that making lots of money will not make you wealthy. You can make $200,000 a year, but if you spend $210,000, you are still broke. If making money does not make you wealthy, what does? Owning income-producing assets. Something we will come back to in a future video when we will talk about investments. A healthy personal and family budget should allow for at least 10% of your take-home income to be dedicated to savings and investments. This is what different authors call paying yourself first. This means that when you get your paycheck, make sure that at least 10% is transferred into a savings account or an investment account. Then use the remaining 90% to cover your living expenses. Note that when we talk about investment, this also includes investing in yourself. Key number 2. Skills pay more. Like in any other markets, on the labor market as well, the price is established by the supply and demand. Skilled workers are paid more than unskilled because they are in higher demand. That's why you always have to look for opportunities to acquire education and gain more knowledge and experience, because you will be more valuable, meaning you get more dollars for each hour you are giving to your employer. Just be aware that being educated is not the same as having a degree. A master's degree in some form of nonsense ecology and a minor degree in basket weaving may sound fancy, but the real market value is zero, because nobody is willing to pay you a dime for that kind of knowledge. When we talk about education, we talk about knowledge that satisfies the real market demand and transferable skills. These are skills that can be used in different industries. For instance, sales, marketing, time management, prioritization, critical thinking, leadership and team building, or problem solving. When you master these kinds of skills, even if you are forced to move into a new industry, you will have no problem adapting. Key number 3. Develop multiple streams of income. Why? The purpose of income is to sustain. You need to be aware that whoever controls your income controls your life. You may be working for the greatest company in the world, and you may have the best boss. Still, all businesses operate in a competitive environment, and they may be forced to lay some people off, or maybe merge and close your facility, or perhaps to even go out of business. Having multiple streams of income will allow you to have flexibility and not depend on only one income. Another reason why you should have more than one income is inflation. When prices go up, your income doesn't always increase at the same rate. The gap between price increases and income increase is in fact a decrease in real terms of your income. While your income increases, the fact that the prices increase at a higher rate is equivalent to a reduction of your income. Do you remember our water flow model? Inflation works like a leak at the bottom of your main tank. This is a leak that reduces your purchasing power. Sometimes prices increase for the same quantity. Sometimes the price is the same, but the quantity is reduced well camouflaged by creative marketing tricks. Sometimes both happen. In my book Inflation and Deflation, part of the series Common Sense Answers to Everyday Questions, I explained in detail how inflation always works in our disadvantage, although we are told that without inflation, the entire economy stops. In his works, The Economic Consequences of the Peace, John Maynard Keynes advocates that, by the means of inflation, the government may secretly and unobserved confiscate the wealth of the people, and not one man in a million will detect the theft. One way or another, you get less stuff for the amount you pay. When you have more than one income, you do not only get the flexibility, but also the possibility to stay ahead of inflation. Key number 4. Understand different types of income. Although you may have different income sources, understand that they are different in nature. First is your income from work, which is a linear income. This is normally your income as an employee or being self-employed. It is called linear because it stays in proportion to the amount of work. If you have a job paying you hourly and you make, let's say, $15 an hour, if you work 1 hour, you get 15. If you work 2 hours, you get 30. If you work 4 hours, you get 60. If you are self-employed, let's say that you are an accountant, it's still linear because if you do the books for one company, you can charge X amount of money. If you do the books for 2 companies, you charge 2 times X. For 3 companies, 3 times X. Even if you are paid by a commission, let's say that you are a realtor, it is mainly the same. Some houses may be in a higher price range, and you make more money when you sell it. Still, 1 house is 1 commission, 2 houses, 2 commissions, 3 houses, 3 commissions. If you are a plumber or electrician, it's about the same. 1 repair, 1 charge, 2 repairs, 2 charges, and so on. Linear income is good to cover your basic living expenses, but it will always be limited. The first limitation is given by the number of work hours available. Even if you would be able to work non-stop, there are only 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. The second limitation is given by the market you operate in. If you work in a grocery store that normally pays $12 an hour, you may be recognized as the most productive employee and get a higher pay. Still, you will not get significantly more. You may be promoted to a supervisor position and your pay jumps to, let's say, $17. Still, you will be paid within the range other supervisors are paid. You may claim more, but most probably you will not get it. If you are a realtor and the commission for selling a property varies between 6 and 7%, that's what you can expect to get. You may ask for 10%, but most probably people will look for someone else who will not charge more than 7%. So, while linear income is very good to cover living expenses, it will always be limited. The second type of income is leveraged income. This is the income that comes from a business that you own. You may start as self-employed, but when you have more work than you can handle, you'll start hiring people to help you. It is called leverage income because you leverage your employees' times and skills. The leverage income has no limitations as long as you can grow and expand the business. If you want to do this, it requires building a scalable system, meaning that you have routines and procedures that other people can use to sell and execute. Also, you will need to have a pretty large pool of potential customers that can be reached by your business. The third type of income is passive income. It is called passive because you do not have to actively work for it. It is also called residual income because it mainly consists of cash flow return from investments. Examples of passive income are rent from real estate, stock dividends, bond yields, royalties from books or music. Yes, there may be some work involved once in a while, for example fixing a clogged toilet for a rental property, but this kind of work can many times be fixed with a couple phone calls. Passive income has no limitations, especially when a part of the income is reinvested into other income-generating assets. So, in order to have a sustainable income, these are the keys to remember. Number 1. Always spend less than what you make and use the difference for savings and investments. Number 2. Acquire skills and gain experience in order to become more valuable in the marketplace. Number 3. Develop multiple streams of income. This will give you flexibility and eliminate the negative impact of inflation on your finances. I will not take your time here to give ideas on how to create additional income. All you have to do is to go online and search for multiple streams of income or generate additional income, and you'll find thousands of articles, blogs, and videos dealing with the topic. But here's what I can say. You can always ask yourself, what are the things I like doing? What are the things I am good at? Where can I find the people who need what I have to offer? Can I take my hobby to the next level and turn it into a business? Number 4. Understand the difference between linear income, work-generated, leveraged income, business-generated, and passive or residual income. Your work income will always be limited by time and market conditions, while there are no limitations on leveraged and passive income. I am Justin Roșioară, and thank you for watching this Common Sense Touch.